Hello, everyone. Good evening and greetings of the day from wherever you are joining in. My name is Shantanu Sharma and I head the operations at Pivot. For all those who do not know about us, Pivot is a global Web3 startup venture accelerator firm. We mostly focus on accelerating early stage startups in this space. And I will share our social links later in the chat and you can follow us. And in case anyone wants to apply for acceleration, they can do so as well. So as far as UX Hub is concerned, or what we are doing right now, we basically are a open masterclass initiative where we want to enable the Web3 startups and aspiring founders with the knowledge from within the industry. So all our sessions that we have done till now, it has been led by experts in the field, so which comprises of founders, investors, angels, and many such more people. So we've already done 14 of them. This is the 15th masterclass, and we aim to do probably one every week, but at least two every month. And these topics will be related to multiple different things. So it could be technology, it could be Web3 sectors, products, goals, on networks. So you may building on a particular chain or something like that. Goals, basically business goals, leadership qualities or leadership related masterclasses, everything that can help startups. We started recently this new series of masterclass called Build with Founders, in which we bring young founders from the startups that we are accelerating. So they will talk about the tech they're building on, they'll talk about the sector that they're building on, and how it can benefit the Web3 space, as well as people who join in, the participants who join in. So today it's my pleasure to welcome Saurabh Singh. He's the co-founder and CEO at Exa Protocol. It's an amazing startup we are accelerating, and they are in the probably doing something very, very interesting. They're building a mobile first decentralized file storage system. I have seen their product and it's absolutely remarkable and mind blowing. And it's also part of something what they're building as a layer one, only to be used on mobile. So this is very interesting. And I'm very happy, Saurabh, to count it's time to come. Saurabh, I'll leave the rest of the introduction to you. All over to you. The platform is yours now. I will stay mute.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shantanu, for this introduction. And yeah, I mean, he has always been very kind with the words. But hopefully, after this presentation, you folks will be able to understand, what is being built and what DFS actually is in terms of mobile first. So first of all, this is our customary, namaste from us to everyone who has joined in. And today in this presentation, I'll be touching upon what DFS is in the sense of a mobile device, and also which consensus mechanisms are there to support the DFS in the context of Web3. But before I start, I have a question for everyone. Probably, you know, can a mobile device replace servers for hosting web apps? Can it, is it possible today? This is the question that I keep on asking everyone whenever I go into events and speak. This is the first question I ask. And if you want to answer, you can probably raise your hands and everything. But for the most part, the answer that I get is that it is currently not at all possible, given Satyam said no. So given that, the performance that the device offers or the scalability that the device offers is very low. So that's the reason that building or hosting a web app on mobile devices is very tedious, not at all worth investing a time in. But this is the problem that we went after because we are coming from Southeast Asian countries and it's a mobile first world. Seeing how Web3 has progressed from being a PC first in 2000 early to 2011s and 2010s when it was out there, it was meant to run on PCs. Now it requires a data center. So we went after this problem. So let's see if I can answer this question at the end of this presentation. Just keep a hold of this question for now. Again, my name is Saurabh, and I'm the co-founder of Exa Protocol. Previously, I co-founded Unreal AI, which was also venture-backed, and I have an experience of over 8 years in AI and distributed compute, and now distributed storage with Exa Protocol. Now, the topic for today's is building the backbone of Web3. Now, when we talk about the backbone of Web3, For the most part, people always think about the layer ones or the layer twos that are out there, probably L2s of Ethereum or the other all the myriad of layer ones that are out there. But there is one crucial aspect that people miss is there is certain infrastructure that is also required to make sure that everything is decentralized. So I want to ask this question like, so what is Web3 infrastructure, right? So Web3 infrastructure is basically a place where your code or your data will reside, right? Let's say you are building a dApp. Either it will be running on AWS for now because the servers are required anyway, or you can try your luck with the distributed compute storage or storage, but it doesn't work as of now today. So this is the Web3 infrastructure that I want to touch upon today. So there are two aspects of Web3 infrastructure. One is decentralized compute, right? Which means you are able to execute your code on someone else's machine. This is a very simplistic statement. Running your code on someone else's machine, that is, uh, but not AWS, right? It could be my home computer on which you are executing your code, or it could be someone else's PC on which you are executing your code. So this is distributed compute, and it is happening today. You have a lot of projects, top tier projects, I would say, that are after this problem. Then there is, decentralized storage. Again, the same thing. Instead of saving your data on a server farm, let's say provided by AWS, you're saving that data on a distributed storage, a PC that I'm, running a spare PC at my home on which you can store your data and so forth. So these are the two infrastructure that is required to make sure, the Web3 is truly decentralized. Of course, you can build your projects on Ethereum, right? But ultimately, what we are after is making sure that everything, with the Web3 folks, this is what we are after, making sure that everything from your code to your data is also decentralized ultimately. But then the question arises, like, why is it even required, right? If I can run my code on AWS, then why is it even required in the first place? Uh, the reason is that we Web3 folks, or we should say psychos, right? We just hate centralization. Uh, be it executing your code on AWS or anything. This is the thing. This has been uh, a major pain point for us that we hate centralization. And the reason is that we believe that AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure is basically they're all root of evil, right? That's the root of all evil is centralized these cloud storage companies or cloud providers. And it's not just that we hate it just for the sake of because they are centralized. It is also because we are seeing a lot of problem with these service cloud providers. One is, you must have seen this problem in which when AWS goes down, everything goes down, right? We have, probably experienced it ourselves. Either your Netflix has stopped working or any other major app has stopped working for you. So it happens, right? With centralization, there is a problem of a single point of failure. And it's not just that the service goes down. There is also a dollar figure value attached to it, which is, for example, in 2021, because of the AWS outage, it costed about $1 billion. So that was a start from 2021. But you can estimate that every year this much amount of dollar business is lost because of the service going down. So uh, after the Web3 folks figured out that we need decentralization of the cloud services, the next question was like, how do we even manage this? Like, so we have a ton of I have a home PC, you must be having your own spare hardware at home. How do we make sure that all these devices work in synchronous to solve this particular problem of Web3 infra? So how do we make sure that the data that I'm saving on different devices is still accessible at quite a fast speed? And also, how do we make sure that the devices are in sync? So let's talk about the consensus mechanisms that we use in Web3 storage for now. The compute part I'm not touching upon. It will stretch uh, this presentation. I'm just sticking to the storage side of things. So for the storage providers, and proof of stake, right? A proof of work again, Bitcoin and major other projects, proof of stake, Ethereum transition 2 years back, and so forth. But for the Web3 storage projects, we use proof of space and time, a proof or POST that we call it. Proof of space is also one, but the more robust one is proof of space and time. So let's see how this consensus makes sure that your data is securely saved on different devices, and it is also available for quick access. And we also, we at Exa Protocol are also using POST primarily to make sure your data is, securely saved on different devices. Now, I just want to make this very, very simple so that you can understand the crux of the consensus. And, once you probably after this presentation, so that you have a good head start of what to research into. So I'll make sure to keep it very, very simple. So let's talk about POST, what it is and how it works. So imagine, we at Exa Protocol, we are in, there is, and on the right, you have a network of all the nodes that are connected to Exa Protocol, right? So how it works is that the protocol says that, you need to reserve some space on your phone, right? So that others on the network can use it. This is in context to Exa protocol because we are a mobile first TFS. So when the protocol says that you need to reserve some space, what happens is that the network provider, they kind of reserve some spaces on their phones. Uh, and there are certain phones out there that are using that storage as well, the network storage. Now, this is a very simple thing, right? So you are saying that I have reserved this space, but this is where POST comes in, right? So I can just fake it also, right? Okay, I've reserved 4 GB for now, but there is no proof that I'll reserve it in the future. So this is where the next robust consensus comes in, which is proof of space and time. So proof of space and time is basically that I'm going to reserve 4 GB of space on my device, but POST ensures that this space is allocated for the time that you have specified, right? It is that I've allocated 4 GB, but that is also allocated over time. So this is proof of space and time. So this ensures that the file is saved securely, and it will be guaranteed that it will be saved for a specific duration of time. So this is what POST is. And POST is not independently used. There is one more consensus that we use along with POST, which is called POREP, right? Or proof of replication. Now, proof of replication, again, I'll make sure that it is very simple to understand. So POREP basically states that, have you replicated the data? It is in talking to the nodes and instructing that instead of just keeping a copy of the data, you need to create multiple device copies of the same data, right? So it could be like I have one node on which my data is saved, and then that node has to make sure the data is saved on multiple other devices. So it creates a copy. And the reason for that is because if the one node goes down, we still have the other nodes to take over and provide you data back, right? So this is what POREP is. And we use this in combination with POST. So I hope this was pretty much, on point and understandable, like what consensus we are using in DFS. Now, this is all theory, right? And currently the projects that are there existing, let's talk about the present projects that are there in decentralized storage for now. And they have been using all the similar consensus as well. So we have RV, you know, most one of the most popular ones, Filecoin, IPFS. If you are a developer, you must be using IPFS a lot if you are building your dApps. And then we also have Storj, STORJ, if you have used them. And yeah, I mean, they all have been using some similar consensus mechanisms to make sure your data is saved securely and also it is able to be transferred. Now, there are some issues. The reason why we just don't want to be another decentralized storage project is because we have analyzed some problems in the current infra. So the current problem with any decentralized storage, for example, IPFS, RV, or Filecoin, is that they are just too slow. They're just too slow. If you are a developer, you will understand the pain of getting your data back. So making sure that the data is saved on these protocols it's great, right? If you save your data on Filecoin or RV, it is great. But when it comes to retrieving your data back, then it creates the problem. So this is the one of the issues that we are trying to solve with the current infra. The second one is, of course, this is all, highly developer centric. If you, for any regular folks out there who wish to just use decentralized storage, probably it is, a bit daunting for them to get into the DFS because of how things are working. So yeah, I mean, the current infra is just computer science nerd compatible, right? And this is also something that we are going after. Apart from this, there are multiple other problems with IPFS, primarily that, uh, if you go over the internet, you will find all these problems listed. One of which is that the lag in IPFS is of several seconds, right? So just imagine if you are using an IPFS data in your website, and your website takes about 60 seconds to load that asset or that image. So it doesn't make any sense to use IPFS at all. Uh, another inherent problem of IPFS is that, the more popular a piece of data is, the more easier it is to get it back from the network. That's inherent problem. And if you're a developer who is just beginning to use DFS, and if you were to use IPFS, since your content will not be popular or your data will not be used widespread, there is not a widespread use of your data, then you can forget about getting your data back in a decent amount of time. Um, and also, what people are also doing is, they are just switching off IPFS, and they have built their own caching nodes on top of IPFS. So again, you are doing a ton of extra work just to make sure IPFS works. Now let's talk about the future, where we think DFS is heading. And, also let's touch upon the problems, that should be solved if you want to make sure the DFS that we are building is also scalable. So now let me just quickly, steal something from Vitalik, uh, and probably customize it and make it our own. So it is called this trilemma. Most of you must have seen this, the trilemma of layer ones. So Vitalik proposed that, there is this system of these three parameters, in which in the layer ones or layer twos, you can only achieve two of them at a time, which is your system can either be secure or decentralized or scalable or secure, right? But not all three. In in DFS, we have also prophesized a very similar concept, which is decentralized storage trilemma. So again, the same thing. Either you can have a secure, decentralized, and vice versa, right? You can achieve two. But with decentralized storage trilemma, what we went after was the combination of all three. How can we make sure that the system is all of the three parameters are achieved? So let's take a quick, overview of where things are today, and how IPFS or Filecoin and where they all lie. So, for example, IPFS, again, it is quite decentralized, and it's been over 10 years now, I guess, almost 10 years now. So IPFS is great. So is Filecoin in terms of decentralization, but both of these suffer from scalability and security. So in terms of scalability, you can just, if you were to use, let's say, IPFS's data as a uh, as an input, or if you were to use the data stored on IPFS into your apps, you will find that if you hit, let's say, 100 users simultaneously, you can forget about IPFS even cooperating with that amount of load. Similar case for Filecoin. Uh, so they suffer from this. We have Arweave, right? Arweave is quite secure in terms of making sure their data is not deleted for now. It is fairly decentralized. And then we have storage. So storage is kind of saying that, it is secure. Decentralization, it's okay. It's not that of a decentralized system. But then it promises scalability. So storage is out there saying that you can use us as a alternative for AWS because it provides scalability. AWS is something, AWS kind of speeds is something that every project is after. And then there is us, Exa Protocol, how we are making sure that, um, we just want to tackle all the three problems at the same time. We invested about 3 years into this project, publishing research papers on it as well. You can go to our website and check them out. So let's see, what we are trying to do so that we are hitting all these three things. Um, First of all, it is decentralized for sure, right? Because instead of saying that you can hook up your PC, we are saying that even if you have a phone with you, you can, provide storage to the network, and that is enough to be a node in the network. Filecoin, on the other hand, has a stupendous uh, minimum requirement to be a node. So for a Filecoin, if you want to be a node in the network, you need at least 256 gigs of RAM. So what Filecoin is basically saying is you need a mini data center to make sure you are part of this Filecoin network. Uh, what this has resulted is that Filecoin is now powered by data centers, not the original idea of or small computers providing storage to the network. Um, and this is where we think the mobile first approach is working for us, since we have made sure that this is the smallest compute unit that is required uh, to be a node in network. It is, we have leveled the playing field for everyone to join this network. Again, scalability is something that we have also touched upon. Uh, Alongside the network of mobile nodes, what we also do is we have a network of these uh, caching nodes that we call. So caching node is basically a spare PC at your home that you can use. And those caching nodes basically cache the data from the mobile nodes if you need that data quite often. I'll show you how everything works. And finally, it is secure. Security in terms of you have the data encrypted with your own private key that you own, and that is something all the other protocol also provide, I would say. But again, it is kind of deeply integrated with Exa protocol, how data is secured, and so forth. Now, comparing how Exa protocol and IPFS compares, here is some quick start. So with Exa protocol, you can expect, sub 100 milliseconds of latency to retrieve your data back. But in terms of IPFS, you can go ahead and try upload a file, let's say 20 megs, and see if you can get your data back in 60 seconds, or is it even comparable to what Exa protocol provides, right? So this is something that we have also achieved with Exa protocol. And today, apart from everything that I'm talking about, I also wanted to show you, how everything works, and how we are making sure that Web3 projects can use us. So today, I also wanted to talk about, the project that we have built, and the project that we have built, and primarily the ExaDrive management console. So this is basically an interface for Web3 projects to upload their data, safely store their data, and also get it back. So we have this management console, which is very similar to what AWS management console is, and you can use interface with the SDK also. Uh, so with this management console, you can upload your public data, and also you can host your static websites. That's an amazing thing that we have achieved with this DFS. I'll show you in live action how it works. We use the concept of buckets, again, very similar to how AWS operates. You can create separate buckets for your projects, and then safely save your data over there. We also have an SDK that you can integrate directly into your projects. Uh, Again, built along very similarly how AWS's SDK works. Now, there are three major breakthroughs that we have also achieved with Exa protocol, right? First is that we are ensuring that you get Web2 level of speed in a DFS. Uh, so what we do is we use our content delivery network powered by the caching nodes to make sure that the files that are being served, the bandwidth or the latency is on par with what Web2 provides. And also you can host your static websites. Again, I'll show you how it works. And finally, the storage is on mobile devices. Like I mentioned, we have leveled the playing field. Even if you have a phone in your hand, you can use it as a storage node. Plus, what we have also done is we are creating these small, palm-sized, uh, these mini ARM-based storage units. It has, so for example, this one has a 1 terabyte of SSD inside it. You can hook this up into this Exa Protocol network, and again, you can provide storage to the network. This is again something that we have built. Uh, so let's see, how everything works. Probably if I can show a demo right now. Shantanu, can we do
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, sure. So if everyone is here, probably I'll show you a demo right now. Is my browser visible? I don't think so. Is it
No, not that browser in which you have the
okay?
demo.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's visible now. Yes, you have to expand it a bit so that people can see it properly. That's it.
Sure. Okay. It should be enough, I guess.
Yeah, this is good enough. Yeah.
All right. So this is, the management console that any Web3 project can use to build their apps, right? So again, built using mobile devices, the infra, and you can host your website or use it as a CDN for your public files. Now, let me quickly show you the architecture, right, and explain in a bit like how everything works. So currently, I'll be demoing you this management console, right? And this management console is something that the developers or the data owners will be talking to primarily, if you're a project, right? And on the other hand, we have these caching nodes that I spoke about. These caching nodes basically cache your public data whenever because public data is something that we believe is will be accessed quite often. And then we have these storage clusters built using mobile devices and also these small ARM computers, right? So I just showed you this. So you can use this or your phone to provide storage to the network. Now we also have the CDN. So CDN is basically connected to the caching nodes. And what the CDN does is it provides a static URL to your data. Uh, Again, Web2 compatible URLs are generated, not IPFS or not any Web3 jargon is used. Alongside this, we also have a custom domain name, provider as well. So you can hook up your own domain names as well on top of what what this content delivery network also provides. I'll show you, what everything means. And then your apps over here, they interface with the CDN, the content delivery network, or they can interface with our SSL or custom domain name servers to basically, use your own domain name to get your data back from the network. Now let's see how everything works, and I'll come back to this again and show you like how things went, right? How data went from here to here. Now let me go back to and see sign into console. Right. Okay. So I just logged in. Of course, you need to sign up with your credentials and then log in. I was just logged in. So this is the center of the this is the center of how everything works in here's my mouse. Okay. Yeah. So this is how everything works. So in Exa Drive, what we do is, everything rotates around creating apps first. So your apps is basically an alias to your project, and your project is basically, we are not saying that this is your project. We are saying this is basically an alias to your project. So what you do is, first of all, you create an app. For example, over here, I have 5 apps created. And of course, you can create your app on your own. Currently, there is a limit of 5 apps in each account. So, I've hit the limit. But anyway, if you were to create an app, what we do is we reserve a CDN for you, this CDN URL for you, right? And also what we do is we create a corresponding bucket for that app. Now, this bucket is very similar to how AWS works. So you have all your files over here, right? You can, upload it from this interface, or you can use our SDK right over here. You can use our SDK, and you can upload data through that. Or if you have multiple files, you can upload using zip, right? So everything is set over here. Now, for example, if you were to upload a file, you know, there is one more thing that we have done, that was missing in IPFS or Filecoin, is using a file system, right? So what we do is we also provide you a dynamic directories for your data. So what you can do is, since we reserve this CDN for you, you can actually decide what the subdomain should be at the time of creating your app. So what you can do is you can define where the file should be stored, right? And these directories will be created on the fly. And there is a very interesting reason why we have implemented the directories part as well. Again, missing this bit is missing from IPFS or Filecoin. And then what you can do is you can choose your file, right? Probably, right? So I can upload this file over here. So basically what happened was, this file got uploaded, right, in this directory, which is that I specified, right? And we also generated a CDN URL. And again, you can access your data through the CDN URL. Now, a lot of things have happened in the background. For you, it is a very simplistic interface, but in the backend, a lot of things have happened. So now let's quickly go back to this architecture. Right. So what we did was we were in this management console and we uploaded a file through this console. So what this console did was it spoke to the nearest caching node and it sent your file to this caching node. And since it was a public file, right, what this caching node has done is it has created a copy in its own cache. And then later what the caching node will do is it will send the file to be safely or permanently, or let's say to be securely saved permanently on these mobile devices, right? It is happening as we speak. The data is being sent to these mobile nodes for permanent storage. Now what this Exa drive also did, this management console also did, was it spoke to the CDN, this content delivery network. And what this content delivery network has done is it has created a permalink for your data that was saved to this caching node. So now let me show you what that looks like. So it was this file, right, in game and app directory. And what we have done is we have created a URL. So this is the URL that we created for you. And if you go to this URL, you can get your data back through this, right? So this is the content of that CSS file. Now, again, when I opened that URL from this browser, I was speaking to the CDN, and then this CDN was talking to the caching node. And that caching node, if it doesn't have a copy yet, or if it deleted that copy, it will just again talk to these mobile nodes, create a copy in the cache, and then serve it back to you through this via this path, right? So this is what has happened right now when I open that file. Now, this is again a very simple, simplistic example wherein I just uploaded a file and you saw it back. Now, the interesting bit about these directories is that if you were to, let's say, upload your, let's say, your web apps, in and if you keep the directories as such, that is the directory structure of your web app, then what you can do is you can go to this URL, the CDN URL that we created, and you can actually serve your web apps through that CDN, right? So what is happening right now is, I guess around 30-ish network calls are being made to the CDN. And with this static URL, you are able to serve your websites and run your web apps into the browsers. Again, the same thing is happening. This browser was talking to the CDN. it went to the root URL of the CDN, and then the CDN figured out that you're trying to access a kind of a web app, and then it will search for the index.html, and then index.html will again from the browser, it will call all the multiple frames from the CDN, and again load your data back, right? Now this is something that is also not at all possible with the current infra, that is IPFS or Filecoin, running your static websites. Now, one more bit, uh, since this has been live for quite a month, I would say, everything. So what people also demanded was that, I want to connect my custom domain instead of using your CDN's URL, right? So currently the URLs that you see, they are basically exadrivecdn.com, right? And then you have your subdomain reserved. So what we have done is we recently released this version in which you can connect your domain name and mask out the CDN. And I have already done that for this app, draw.io clone. I have connected a domain to this. What you can do is you can just go to the app settings and then connect a domain. Currently, this draw.io is connected to this domain, right? So if I go to this domain, it is being served from your own domain, and again, working like as expected, I would say. Uh, Again, this is a subdomain again, but you can also have something like this also, maybe a root domain. You can again do that. And it is very easy to connect that. So if you go over here, you can actually add your domain, add these records, verify your ownership, and everything will be done from our side. So that you can just concentrate on building your apps and everything will be taken care of. Uh, Again, the daunting part about in DFS, uh, you know, all the new protocols that are being developed, they are really good for the progression of the Web3 ecosystem. But what it has it done is it has left out the Web2 developers entirely, and it has creating a new learning curve for them. So with Exadrive, we are making sure that the learning curve is not that steep. And even if you are migrating from Web2 to Web3, there is a very simpler transition for you using Exadrive. And so yeah, so this is something, I just demoed you the management console. But if you don't want to use this console, that is totally fine, right? You can do away with this. What you can do is there is another side to this story, which is this part over here, right? So this section that is highlighted over here. So this is entirely, self-managed data. Probably what you can do is you can build your own management console, right? You don't have to rely on this one. This is something that we have built as an example on top of this DFS. So this is the DFS, right? This part is a DFS. So we have built an example on top of it. You are free to use your own DFS, but this is something that you can get started very quickly. So this is something I really wanted to touch upon, what we are doing in the future to make sure the DFS is more or less accessible and also mobile first. For the mobile devices, we have an app or an APK that they can install on their phones and then reserve their app. For these small clusters or ARM computers, again, we will have a command line argument for some advanced users so that they can, hook this up to the network. So this is it, I would say. This was about. Where's my mouse? Okay, so this was I would say something about what we have built and what we see the future should be, wherein there is a synergy between the Web2 and Web3, and Drive is at the cusp, I would say. It's a hybrid model of Web2 scalability and Web3's decentralization. So this is something that we have built, right? So it's sounds good, right? So now, coming back to the original question, if you remember, I asked like, could your mobile devices replace servers uh, for hosting web apps, right? So this is the question I asked. Uh, but the answer is that it is possible, but only if you switch to Exadrive. It's I'm just very, very curious. So far, we have about 30 odd projects building on top of Exadrive. They are doing about 100 gigs of data each project every month, and it is working flawlessly. Happy to explore if other projects would also like to use Exadrive and build their own decentralized apps on top of it. So that's all. Thank you so much for being patient and going, through the entirety of this presentation. I also have, for the users who are joining today, you can use scan this QR code and, just, fill up this form, and we'll be giving you credits to use Exadrive for free. That was all again promised for this event. So that's all. Happy to have your questions and answer them. Hopefully, this was, a bit intriguing for you to explore DFS and also, the concepts that I explained. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Saurabh. This was brilliant. Of course, I've seen this entire demo a number of times, and every time I watch this, it's pretty intriguing as such. Okay, and yeah, I think many questions do get answered today. I mean, if people look at it, but we would love to have any questions. Does the audience have any question? As you know, they have about 15, 20 people here on this space. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand, and we can ask Saurabh to answer your queries if any.
Yeah, there are two questions if I would like to address in the comments. One is like, what is the maximum permissible file size for uploading? So
Okay.
currently, since we are open beta, what we are saying is we allow a file size of up to 32 megabytes as a single file size. But if you want to upload a zip, it can be up to 128 megabytes. So any web app is basically under 50 megs, so it is good for you. Uh, but yeah, these limits are being upgraded. Earlier, we started with just 8 megabytes limit on the file, but now we have upgraded 32. So we are just, increasing the limit as more and more people are joining in and the system is becoming stable.
Any other
Yeah.
questions?
So Ashmeet is asking, if a caching node fails, then what? So there is a reason we have multiple caching nodes. If one fails, then the other one takes over. And yeah, and similar cases also for the mobile devices. If your data is saved on one mobile device, since we are using proof of replication, that data is also stored on multiple mobile devices. So if one goes offline, the other ones are ready to take over. I guess
Yeah, Rakesh, you can ask questions. Yeah,
that
please
is
do.
I
You can
answered.
actually come online if you want, and ask it in
Yeah,
voice mode on.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was a great presentation. So I had like couple of questions.
Yeah,
Uh, I just wanted to know, like, you talked about two, right? Storage, one in the phone and other in the drive, which you had shown in the
yeah, yeah.
session. So I just wanted to know, is there a limit in the phone, like when anyone is kind of installing, so he'll be allowed? And another thing, along with that, will there be any bandwidth thing, which how much it will be utilized or something? Because everyone will be utilizing their internet, and specifically if it is a 5G or something, there will be a limit. So how that is kind of taken care or something like that?
Sure. For the first question, I guess you're talking about like how much storage can someone provide to the network from one
Yep.
account? Yeah, okay. So again, it is up to you. So in that the APK that we have, what you can do is there is a slider that you can slide and say that, I just want to allow 10 gigabytes or 100 gigabytes of my phone storage to be allocated to the network. So it is under your control. The second part about, how much bandwidth will be utilized, we haven't set a limit on it yet, because either a phone can on be a Wi-Fi or it can be on your mobile data, right? So because of these two reasons, so far there is no cap on how much data can be transferred, but I guess that's a good food for thought for us also to think about it.
Meaning, nowadays, what I have heard is like there are a lot of DeepIn projects which are coming and they just tell install and start mining. So
Uh,
definitely, the same thing applies here as well, where we are not sure if it is taking the entire thing, right? Even user won't be knowing that, okay, from where it is happening or something like that.
Okay, I guess there are limits. First limit, like I mentioned, you can allocate how much storage you can allow for this app to use.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
up to you, right? And the second bit about the bandwidth, we haven't really faced this issue or getting a flag from the users that we have been using excessively their bandwidth, because what people are doing is they are just hooking up their old phones and just connecting them to Wi-Fi, right? So that's not an issue for them. That's the reason probably why it is happening. The
Okay.
thing that showed, right?
But
This.
what I think was when we look at a long-term scalability and a usage
Mhm.
perspective,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I won't be available all the time with my spare phone in my home or something like that, but we want the
yeah,
data to be available. So definitely I feel okay, I have a 256 GB of my mobile, so I'm ready to shell out my 4 GB of my memory,
yeah.
something like that.
No, totally. Yeah, totally. Your point is absolutely valid. And there is one more limitation in your APK. That is the amount of battery that the app can use. You can actually set that, this app should work only during these hours of the day, and also
Cool.
how much battery it should utilize. So yeah.
Okay. And is it permanently stored, all the data?
No, it's up to the case of the data owner. If they want to delete the data, they can.
No, I mean, as I'm a person, like I'm hosting the files on the server.
Mhm.
So is it permanently stored on the IPF, like uh, the
Uh,
systems, or
are you talking about?
like perpetual storage, or IPFS is not a perpetual, right? So
Yeah,
there are a
yeah,
couple of other protocols which
yeah.
make sure that the data is available. So,
So in this part, whatever you save over here, for example, all these files, I hope my screen is visible, right?
yep, yep.
So, okay, so all these files that are stored over here, right? So you are being billed all the time, right? So whenever you are saving data or you're transferring bandwidth, you are being billed, because we need to make sure to compensate the storage providers for the storage that you're providing. Once you delete the data, that part of the file are being deleted from the mobile nodes and those caches.
Got it. But whatever is available will be stored permanently.
This is something, this is where the caching nodes come in, right? So they are kind of like, this is the caching node infra, from this points onward is built for that only, because the caching node, making someone a caching node is not that you can hook up your PC. You need to stake some ZAP, right? So whenever you stake some ZAP, only then you
Okay.
can deploy it. Yeah. So there is a ton of loss for a caching node to go offline.
Okay. Got it. Meaning, if I am like, say, for example, even though if it is a perpetual storage, I am paying either it is Zap token or whatever. But if there is a kind of a payment, so it is a
Yeah.
perpetual, something like that.
Yeah, yes, yes. So if you pay, then your data will be saved. Again, very similar concepts from AWS. If you stop paying, then your data is, well gone.
Got it. And I'm not that into technical, but I just wanted to know how, it's like, since like past like 1 year or something, I see about DA, data availability layer, even where they talk about this. How different is that? And it's just uh, because even they also tell you can store tons of data on chain, retrieve it or something like that in a cheaper format. That is what they come up with that narrative. So
Yeah, see, it's a game of caches, right? Whenever you talk about data availability, you just cannot, talk to the layer one, or in case of DFS, you just cannot be talking to the phones all the time, right? The data availability is again ensured if you have a bit more powerful machine at the front that can, first ensure that it is up all the time. And the way we ensure that it is up all the time is through the stakes that they have given us. So these are the checks you need to do. But again, of course, this is the way, and this is also the way that we have also built Exa Protocol.
got it. And the device which you talked about, it is something like a deep in thing where anyone can just buy and connect to the internet, something like that,
This
and
is
get the tokens or something.
probably,
No.
this is alpha right now. Probably,
Okay.
if it goes well, then this will be available for
No,
sale.
any plan like just like how they're selling the deep in devices, right? It can be anything. So is there a plan where okay, anyone can just buy connect to the Wi-Fi, do nothing, sync
Yes.
up to your mobile phone and
Yes.
just do activate so that it will take both the things, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the reason why we built this, we saw how the activities was being done, and how the people were using their phones. So like I mentioned, right, they were using their old phones, hooking up to their Wi-Fi. So what we thought was, if people are really just, putting their phone at homes, then why not just give them a device or a high storage device at a very similar price, right? So probably, what cost us to build this device for under $100, right? So it's very
Mm-hmm.
easy to build these kind of
Okay.
devices. Yeah, you can use them. Probably, once everything goes well, probably these will be on for sale.
Are there the tokenomics, or I don't know, I have not seen, but is there a revenue thing which you can already see, or still it is in the development, meaning the returns and all those things after setting up
Uh,
of a device and all?
Uh, Rakesh,
I would, yeah,
okay,
probably.
please answer this. Please answer this. Sorry, please answer this. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So for us as a revenue, right? So whenever, this protocol, this Exa protocol, it's in the middle, right? So whenever we are making sure their data is being saved on the device, and we are creating a connection between the storage providers and the people who need storage, what we do is we charge a very minimum fee, right? So for us, it is very, it's amazing if you can hook all your devices, because we make money during the data transfer phase, and we call it the data brokerage fee, right? It is included in whatever data or all the charges that you see in your dashboard. So this is where we make money. Offering these devices to people is also beneficial for us. More devices, more data brokerage fee for us.
No, no, sorry, I'm not talking about your revenue, meaning any user who takes the device, right? So once he connect, is that done, or like it is in progress or something like that?
For a user, of course, you will be paid in a native token for providing storage.
Okay, okay, thank
Yeah,
you, thanks for that.
sure.
Thanks, Rakesh. There's a question from Gurinder Dua, Saurabh. How will AI agents interact with Exa Drive?
How will AI agents interact with Exa Drive?
Mhm.
Probably if you can explain a bit more this question.
Uh, Mr. Gurinder, can you come on if you can unmute yourself and if you're still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I
Please
can
go
hear
ahead.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm saying since the DFS is working on mobile phone or on physical devices, right? So tomorrow, other digital entities, let's say IoT device has to be uh, some data from there is being stored by
Mm-hmm.
uh, some other digital entity,
Mm-hmm.
non-human, I'm saying, right? I'm talking of digital entities, non-human digital entities, because this seems to be very human focused. Uh,
Yes. Okay. I guess that's more or less the dystopian future that we're imagining, that whenever, AI agents are just roaming around the internet and creating content and downloading content.
it's
Uh,
already happening, right?
yes, it is happening. Yeah. And it happened before this LLM took over as well, right? The search engine and everything, they were all bots collecting data from all the websites, right? Uh, we just cannot, prevent anyone from scraping data, the publicly available data from this network. There is one more side to this DFS, which is wherein you can encrypt your data before saving to the network. If you do that, then only you can get access, only you can decrypt the file and get your data back. Apart from the public data, we very specifically mentioned that, this management console is only for your public data. So if you were to use management console and provide data to your users through this, just make sure it is not sensitive. And again, nobody can stop AI agents from scraping data from anywhere.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not talking of scraping data, AI agents scraping data. I'm talking of AI agents as active participants wanting to store data on DFS, okay, and not on, I mean, like, if they are sensitive, they don't want to store data which is accessible to, let's say, the big guys, right? The whole idea of DFS is exactly that, right? So it's that you can have you data handling mechanisms beyond what the big guys are providing, right?
Primarily, the logic behind DFS is to make sure there is no single point of failure, right? And that is one of the biggest concern with DFS. Talking about AI agents being able to save your data on this network, if you have the tokens with you, if you can pay us, you are really happy to welcome. Either you are an AI agent or a human, because we also provide an SDK, right? So an SDK gives you programmatic access to this management console. So that is something you can probably uh, think about, right? So nobody can stop AI agents from saving data, only if you have the native token with you.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with this uh, Gotse oracles, right? The meme coin.
Which one? Can you repeat, please?
The Gotse Gospels. There
Okay.
was a paper which was written by, and there's a meme coin uh, called God, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that meme coin was used by the AI agents
Mm-hmm.
to basically interact with the uh, entire network and promote
Yeah.
this meme coin.
So
So
this is one of the scary parts about AI, right? I remember like 4 years back, I was in an event. I was speaking there.
no,
Uh,
no, I'm not talking about the scary part. I'm saying Mark Anderson, okay, gave 50 thousand dollars on Bitcoin network, right? Bitcoin address uh, to this AI agent, and it tasked this AI agent to create wealth for him.
mhm.
I think, Mr. Dua, I think we are digressing from the actual topic.
No, no.
You're
So
talking
I'm
about
I'm
AI
talking of
agents,
exactly that. I'm talking of
storage,
that
and
the
AI
AI
agents.
agents use of the storage uh, if they want to.
Yeah, they can. If you have our token, if you hold our token, if you can pay us in our token, then you can use your storage, use our storage, however the way you want, through an AI agent that you built or through by humans. So it's all okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You have
That was
to
the
pay us.
question. That was
You
the
have to
question.
pay us.
Yeah. Mm.
Thank you, Mr. Dua. There's one final follow-up question by Rakesh. He says, "Is there a price comparison chart from Exa and AWS hosting
Yeah.
costs?"
Yeah. Currently, it is about ranges between a third to a one-sixth of what AWS does. So if you are using AWS, you will see majority of your charges are for the data transfer, if you have built your app. And for the storage, we charge you nothing for storing your data for now in this open beta. But we charge you for the data transfer, and for the data transfer fees, it varies from one-third to one-sixth of what AWS does.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, Saurabh. I think we are way
Sure.
past the time, but it's been very interesting. Um, if people want to really ask questions to Saurabh, I've shared his details on the chat. Please take it from there. And for all those who attended today's masterclass, you'll be given 200 ZAP as promised by Exa Protocol and by Saurabh. So please scan this thing. You'll get a form, and that form you to fill up, and Saurabh will send the rest to you. Saurabh, any final words about where the future is going to be with DFS? And you've already answered a question about whether we
Yeah.
can use our old mobile phones. So there are, we keep on changing, but the mobile phone stays. Either it stays or it goes in the kabadi walla. So
Mhm.
okay, so the thing is, using the mobile phones, old mobile phones, but I think the device that you have held, the small device, makes a bigger sense in the long run. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think that's a lot of sense. Yeah. Any
I
last words? You can please go
Yeah,
ahead.
the last word is probably, the reason why we exist is for the next 5 years to 10 years, the next decade. So the next decade is for sure for the mobile devices. And the way we are seeing it, that, Asia, the Southeast Asian region, of course, it's a mobile first world, but more or less the regular folks, the folks who are in Web3, we see that, they are no longer the the techies of Web3. We are seeing regular folks, joining Web3, and they don't know how to be a node on the network. So what we are doing is, for them, we are abstracting a ton of jargon, and we are saying, if you have a phone, that's good enough to be a part of the Web3 revolution that we are seeing. So mobile first Web3 is something that we should be building for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. And whenever I see the product that you have designed and you've worked on for the last 3 years, kind of research that you put in, the kind of effort to create that UI and the UX as well, because the experience has to be very very
Yeah.
simple and usable for everybody
Yeah,
in this space. So anybody who holds a handheld device should be able to hook onto Exa Protocol and earn and share the earnings as well while they're doing that. So
sure.
yeah, they're
Just
great.
one last
Yeah, yeah.
clarification. Yes, there was one comment in which the person asked that, so Satyam said that only accounts approved under the Accelerate program. So this form will also be a part of the Accelerate program. So don't worry about it. The folks who are filling this up, they will activate it.
Great. So I've already taken note of the of the
Sure.
people who have come in, so we can probably share notes and find out who has actually participated in this thing, and then of course whoever scanned this thing, because we are live on Twitter and there are people watching it on Twitter as well. Saurabh. All right.
Awesome. Awesome.
So yeah, so somebody would definitely want to hook onto this extra drive credit and take it from you. Yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, we are very excited about Exa Protocol. We are very happy to have you, on our team as far as the uh, this entire journey of acceleration is concerned. So we're looking forward to working with you, and very excited to see you grow, man. God bless, and I think it's good. Good. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next uh, I think next masterclass should be maybe weeks down the line or maybe 2 weeks down the line. And that's it. That's what we're going to do.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, Shantanu, and thanks
Yeah,
everyone.
just a minute. I thought I'll just take a photograph of this thing, just holding on to, you know, a minute. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Yeah. Just take a snap of this. Brilliant. So thank you so much, guys, for attending and being with us. We hope to see you again in the next masterclass. We'll be coming soon. We will talk more deeper into the decentralized storage systems, and of course, there'll be one masterclass every other week. Hopefully every week, but yeah, at least two every month is what we're planning to do. We've already done 14 of them. Thanks, Saurabh, for being with us. Thank you for doing this. It's brilliant as always, and looking forward to see you again. Bye bye. Take care, guys. Have
So
a good one.
much. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.